So kind of the first question that I've led off with everybody, and I'm curious to hear this because I think it's a little bit different from like team sports compared to dance, right?
Mm-hmm.
But how would you two kind of describe your leadership styles, and kind of how did you develop those characteristics kind of throughout your career?
I would say that I just try to lead with a positive energy. I feel like usually the biggest component is positivity. If there's a lot of negativity in the room, it's very contagious. And I think that just making sure everybody stays positive helps us compete better and helps us work together as a team a lot better.
Yeah, I would have to agree with like what Kenna said. Like from being, I feel like it's different, like leadership skills almost from like high school to college, just because like we're all adults now. So I'd say yeah, like positivity is like a big one, and like also like being a hard worker, because if like you're leading, you're leading by example. So if you're not working hard, your teammates will see that and they'll follow suit. So I would say probably both of those two things.
And I'm interested to hear your guys' thoughts on this because I framed this question a little bit differently to everybody, but I think dance, like there's obviously a focus on synchronization,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think obviously it takes a lot of good leaders to get everybody in your collective synchronized and on the same page at the same time. What are kind of some, I don't know if it's tips is the right word or anything like that, but what have you done that's kind of worked to your success with the Dragon Dance team to the point where you're getting everybody on the same page in something that is not easy to do on a daily basis, especially given the discipline?
I'd probably say like repetition. So like when we learn our routines, we take it like chunk by chunk, and then like we take like each move and like try to like synchronize that together. So I'd say like repeating that multiple times, and then also like almost kind of like our coach used to say like dancing as like one like amoeba. I don't really know how like what that word means, but I'd say like if like one person's arm's here, one person's arm's there, like sometimes people have to change. It might be a little uncomfortable, but at the end of the day, like you want to look like copy paste, like like it's one person dancing on the floor, but multiple people.
Everybody moving in the same direction.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say something similar. Like, I feel like people need to be okay with change, because sometimes you have one thing, somebody else has another, and you kind of just have to agree on one thing. And sometimes people aren't happy about it, but I think just making sure that we all know that, like, in order to succeed, we have to make those changes. And I think we also have to, like, correct each other a lot. We have to give corrections and to help as a group, and sometimes people can take that personally. So I think making sure that we all know that it's from a standpoint of wanting to be better together.
And, you know, for each of you individually, who are some of the people in your life that have kind of influenced how you lead? I mean, obviously you've had coaches throughout your career. I'm sure parents have obviously a sway on that as well, but who are some of the important figures in your throughout your athletic career that's kind of influenced the way that you lead?
I'd probably have to say my coaches from, I feel like all my coaches throughout college, they all like lead the team with hard work and dedication, not only in the studio but out of the studio, and they also know when it's time to have fun, but also like when it's time to get down to work, and like when we have stuff that we need to get done. I would say like they have a very like, it's like a broad coaching style, which helped me like to like my leadership, like helping like, oh, like I need to be not only dedicated in the studio but also out of the studio. Same with hard working in and out of the studio. When it comes to like our winter practices, like we have like videos we have to turn in, so like leading by example in that point of like working hard. And I'd say like I try to have like as much fun with the team as I can, because I feel like if we have a fun and positive environment, then practice just goes by so much faster when we're having fun together.
Yeah. I also think almost all of my coaches that I've ever had I feel like have been a good influence on my leadership skills, but I would say the college ones as well. I think that it helps in college because you do a lot of things and they kind of treat you more like an adult than the coaches that you have when you're younger, which makes sense. But I think that it's helpful because you're not only coaching them as like an athlete, but I think you're also helping them become like a fully formed person. And so I feel like using those qualities have helped me a lot.
And I mean, you brought up a point of, you know, you might have to input something that's not entirely popular from the team overall.
Yeah.
How do you guys kind of handle adversity? Because that's obviously can be a point of adversity, but obviously, you know, there's differing opinions on the team. There's, you know, want to do this thing, but we're going to do this thing. how do you kind of push through adversity and get the team on the same page in those moments?
I would have to say, as someone who I'm very stubborn when it comes to things like that. So I think at the end of the day, I need to think about what's gonna be best for the team, and put myself put the team first and then myself later, because we all have one common goal that we want to achieve. And so if I'm being stubborn, or someone else is, and we don't want to do that, then it's gonna put negative effects on the team.
Yeah. I think just making sure that everybody's heard, everybody is able to state their opinion, and we can all kind of talk about what works the best before we move on with it. Because sometimes most people will be doing one thing, but one thing just works so much better in another circumstance. And so I think that's important. And also just making sure nothing that we say in practice is ever personal. It's always just for the betterment of the team. And I think making sure everybody understands that.
And, my last question for the both of you is, the way I've kind of worded it is, if you ran into a younger version of yourselves, or a younger version who wants to dance collegiately, wants to, even be a student athlete at a certain point in their career, what piece of advice would you offer to that young female that wants to be in your position one day?
I would say just go for it, because you never know what's gonna happen unless you take that chance. I didn't know I was gonna even try out to be a college athlete until 2 weeks before tryouts, and it's probably the best decision I've ever made. I've made some lifelong friends. You learn so many new things, and I would say you never know unless you try.
Yeah, I was going to say basically the exact same thing. It doesn't hurt to try. I think if you're worried about not being good enough and stuff like that, it doesn't hurt to try, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But I think just making sure you work hard and put your best foot forward. I think just go for it.